Hey, welcome back. Let's do a second video today. I've been only doing the Sunday Salvage Sale videos for a few weeks. I've been busy building my frame, and I'm not really filming videos on that because it's slow and in between things. But here is a video. So if you watched my last video on the high cost of free, or the high cost of cheap parts, here's another cheap part let's mess with. Let's see if this video is about the same. Loosen that stand. So this is some medium endy old 80s or 90s mountain bike. It's got Tonge MTB main tubes. But up here it says 3 main tubes. That means these 3 main tubes are chromoly and the rest of the stays are cheap steel. This is a Cromor fork that is not original to the bike. I can sort of see from the stickers it's Cromor. It's got the little Schwinn screws in it for Schwinn specific wheels, but this is a cool fork. It's pretty wide. I mean, it's got the ugly unicrown. People like it. It's got double eyelets here. I want this fork for a different project. Spin, 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 stand, spin. So I got this out of the free box at Salvage Sales a few weeks ago. It seems like I got a brazon removed or repaired or replaced. It looks fine, might be fine. Maybe I'll change it just to make sure it's fine. I don't trust amateur frame builder stuff that much. I don't trust some professional frame builders. Follow everybody on Instagram, and boy, I tell you, it's gotten to a lot of people's shops in real life. A lot of frame builders are so much better than you can imagine. They're so pro, and some of them have big egos and can barely brace. You're like, whoa, their things fall off and break. Their bikes break all the time. You're like, okay, no. I am not the prettiest frame builder, not the best frame builder. I'm very uptight about what I do. I try to do the best job I can, and I've had 0 things break ever. And if I can never have a bike break, then everyone can never have a bike break. So I don't know, but I got this bike. It is pretty nice. The paint is beat to shit. It is not frontaled. I see no dents. Really? Nothing. Oh, wait. It's a little dented and squeezed. Okay, so it's a real beater. It's a beater. It's a beater. 51 centimeters, so that's about 20 inches. It's kind of big. The chain stays real crimped here. Something dropped on it hard. I think it's probably not cracked or broken. It's got cool sun tour dropouts. I don't know. It's a beater. I have yet to find any. A ton of chain suck damage, but it's all real minor to call paint off, but it's no big digging into the metal. It's a real beater. It's a real beater. It's a real beater. The beaters are nice. Beaters are amazing for city bikes. You can take them to bars, you can go to shows, and lock them up downtown. They're not attracting tweakers. You have a beater with a really good lock, and a tweaker is going to walk past it every time. It's got Tonge Prestige tubing. I want to save this bike. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with me. I could probably roll this dent out. It's nice tubing, but it's still a mountain bike, so stuff's still pretty thick. These things can take a beating. What I want to do, somebody used to have a purple headset in this. This thing's like purple sparkles. It's cool. This head tube is 11 centimeters tall. Woo! I love having a double stand. This head tube is 10.5 centimeters tall. No, oh no. No, I was just measuring the tube, not the cups. This head tube is 9.5. So most likely this fork is way too small to save this MB2. Wah, wah, wah. I had a few other nice forks. I gave them away or sold them. I do have, I'll show you. I do have this new old stock chrome 26-inch mountain bike fork. It is 1-inch threadless, which means you have to go spend 20 or 30 bucks on a brand new 1-inch threadless headset, because I don't have any of those. For everything else, I have plenty of used beater 1-inch threaded headsets. I also have this. This is like way too tall. This is like not way too tall. This is like the same as this Schwinn fork. This is a handmade, I think it might be an Ahern or somebody fancy, handmade disc brake fork. It's got the flip dropouts, it's got the ISO disc tab, it's got some rear rack mounts. It is for 1 1/8 threadless. These bikes are both for inch, even though it doesn't make any sense in my brain because 1 1/8 is bigger than 1 inch, as you can see. I've heard you can get crazy weird headset shim adapters or something so you can run an 1 1/8 fork in a 1-inch bike. That seems nuts. That seems nuts. I don't know if I believe it. It probably exists if there's a way. But really, I guess, I really wanted to save this fork and throw it on there. A bunch of braze-ons. That'd have been so cool. All right, never mind. We are back bench burnering that project until I can go home and make sure I don't have some mountain bike forks that I thought I had that I think I probably gave away. But I still think I'm going to save this fork. And this frame has some other parts. It's got some old RX100 cranks, which are nothing special. It looks like it's got a very new bottom bracket. It's got a chainring keeper for 28.6. I am completely out of those. So I'm going to steal some of these parts. So it's not a total loss. And then, as soon as I'm doing that, I've always spent an hour just cleaning my bench and then playing with this. I'm going to try and spend a couple hours and work on my actual handmade frame and get my chainstays on. Ooh, that's the plan. So let's see. Let's see if we can strip the parts off this bike without it exploding in our faces and causing a ton of problems. Do some more of that high cost of free nonsense. Alright. This has one of those dumb headsets. It's only got 4 wrench flats instead of octagonal or whatever. So I got to get a single headset wrench for the bottom, and then all my headset wrenches wrap around for more wrench flats. So I can't use a fancy headset wrench. This is a forged in the USA Craftsman 12-inch adjustable, and it's the right size. Sometimes it's too small. I have a 15 as well. 15s are like $80 new. I found on the side of the road, or I think a friend found on the side of the road for me. I always grab tools that fell off the back of old trucks. Hey, all right. I was expecting it to be frozen in place and a total nightmare. This is an ugly, weird, cheap headset from FSA. I've never seen it before. I don't know how I feel about it. I was planning on just throwing it away. It's all mismatchy looking. I'm just going to throw this away. I might save it for frame builder stuff. Save it for being able to test fit threads and make sure threads are clean. If a thread's real nice and smooth and easy, run it over threads. So I don't trust it. I don't even trust it's matched. It doesn't really matter if it's matched. If the crown race and the lower cup are matched and the bearings are matched and it's a totally different headset's upper, as long as each individual thing is matched. Ooh, it's all drillium in there. It's kind of cool. Ooh. Yeah. Got some trash. That greasy thing off. Still gonna save this fork. Yeah, that crown race is kind of toasted. Spinner. I swear I've never heard a spinner in my life, and all of a sudden I've got like 5 of them. The last 5 forks have all been weird 90s spinner forks. I'll make sure it looks good. I got that blue, really cool old mountain bike I was going to fix up a while ago, and someone over-tightened the stem and it cracked and bulged the whole steer tube, just totally wrecking it. It looks pretty good. One thread's a little uck. Oh, another thread down here is a little uck, but not too uck. Probably from running the headset in loose or doing something. So that's cool. And I removed this old dead crown race because there's no reason to save it. People always want forks with the old crown race on. They're always like, yeah, I'll just put that into my brand new expensive headset with this old dead crown race. It's probably the wrong size and all the wrong angles and mangle my stuff. It's all the same. It is not all the same. They have their own tapers and bearing sizes and all sorts of weirdness. don't mismatch parts just because they look eyeball like you can mismatch them, because they may, but they probably don't. Maybe in modern stuff, that's how BMXs are now. But there are so many different sizes and thread pitches and things for everything now. And back in the day. Crown race off. There are a lot of fancy tools for taking crown races off. People always like it when I don't use fancy tools for things. And crown races are one of those things. I like a punch that's usually round, and a hammer, and all my hammers from the Firm Builder Bunch. Big hammer. And I usually put the steer, I'll put it on a soft piece of plywood like my workbench, or wad up a rag, or little foam pads, you know, for your knees to nail on, like something just so I don't damage those threads. I put the punch on there, and sometimes I gotta whack it once or twice, sometimes I gotta flip it and whack it, flip it and whack it. That one came right off, no issues. Some rattling around inside the fork, that is usually flux from they weld it together. It's a paste you have to use to make your brass flow. This thing is all tigged though. The dropouts are brass brazed. So it's usually like a little bit of flux, and it sort of cooks and hardens, and then they don't wash it out, and then it eventually breaks off and rolls back and forth. Things you can do for flux are find the vent holes, and you can just spray some grease out of your grease gun in there. Just like put a big blob, and sometimes the flux will fall and stick to the blob and stop rattling. That's one way. I guess you could drop super glue and try and do the same thing. But it really doesn't matter, and you really only notice when you're playing. You don't really notice when you're riding your bikes. But yay, $2 punch. Yay, I don't know. I probably paid $5 for this hammer. Big hammer. And now I have a little mountain bike fork that'll fit something else. And when I put it on that bike, I'm probably going to add some rack mounts Surly style, maybe some more mid ones, and you know, make this thing real cool. G4 butted. I thought this thing said chromo, but I don't know. Whatever, it's a fork. It's a fork. It's a fork for a beater old mountain bike. Probably getting grease all over these gloves. I'm trying to wear the gloves working on clean bike frames. That's foolish. Have to wash them. These gloves are dorky. I got them off eBay like 10 years ago. They were like $5 a pair, and they're wool. And they are so warm and nice. And a little gothy. Oh, warm tea. Alright, what else is savable on this bike? So far I'm not regretting grabbing it for free and hauling it around. Here is a Phillips screwdriver. Let's save this little chain keeper. My roommate is saying her chain is falling off again. It didn't for a long time, but now it is. It says really only bumps when she's off-roading. I'm like, well, it's a road bike with 25mm tires. Don't take it off-roading. So she bought a cross-check yesterday. A cross-check for a good deal. So she can do something to do more gravelly stuff with. Let's see if these pedals come off, because they're frozen, then why bother? All right, pedals always tighten towards the front of the bike, loosen towards the back. Basically this one's reverse threaded, but that's a good way to remember. Tighten towards the front, loosen towards the back. I'm pushing down so I'm getting my leverage so I can hold this thing kind of wherever I want. I have leverage to push my body weight down. And that breaks stuff loose. Doing the opposite of that makes everything twice as hard. Come on, stay on there. These pedals are totally poopy. I'm not even going to look at it to see if the bearings are worth saving. Bottom bracket is also way too narrow for this bike. That chainring is like touching the stay. Let's see if my theory holds up. So, righty tighty is not the right one for this non-drive. It'll be righty loosey. Oh, righty loosey. I don't think these crank arms are even matched. This is a real beater. I'm gonna pull these cranks to. I was grinding a bunch of aluminum here, now there's just aluminum dust on everything. My hate it, and it's going to cause problems if I don't get it all off. Skipping a step. It's the Part Tools 14mm crank bolt wrench. You could use any 14mm shallow socket, or skinny socket, I mean, thin walled. You can grind a socket down. It's got an 8mm on the other side because modern crank bolts are 8mm. By modern, I mean stuff from the last 20 years. Also, some vintagey stuff is 15, some vintagey stuff is 16, so I got this in like every size. They don't make those sizes anymore. You gotta find vintage tools. Yeah, this crank is like pretty much pressed on past its max. It's not matching. The guy did make a homemade bash guard, so he took a ring and cut all the teeth off. That's cool, but it's like kind of an ugly ring with ramps and pins, and it's sort of a hacky job. But that's cool. This inside ring is steel. I don't care about it at all either. This bottom bracket is probably a super cheapo, but I want it because it is clearly new. It's like not a speck of dirt on it. The bearings feel amazing. There's no play. So I'm wasting my time trying to pull these cranks off to save this used bottom bracket. Probably charge way less money for than the amount of time it took me to get it off. Wasting all my time. I could be doing cool frame builder stuff. Always get your extractor on there, tool tight, a little push. Otherwise, you'll sometimes just pull the threads right out of these aluminum cranks instead of pulling the cranks off the bottom bracket. And then you're really in a pickle. Woohoo! I've shown how to remove cranks on a million videos, like a little more in depth than some other ones. Like, edit all this out of this one. Maybe I'll save you chainring bolts too. They're chrome, they're nice, they're double, they're single, I definitely save them. I have so many chainring bolts, bro. So many chainring bolts. Yep, away with thee! If you're a real pro, you can do the whole thing from one side of the stand. Because a lot of pros have to work on double stands with another guy working the other side, just shaking the stand, trying to get your housing, your cables through your housing, so stands just shaking. It's a nightmare. Double stands are nice when you're in the middle of a big project and the customer comes in with a quick fix. Just flip the stand around and use it. You gotta order a part for a project so you can't work on it. You gotta sit around for a few days and you don't have wheels for it yet or something. It's nice, you just leave it in that stand. So I got the Bridgestone on the other side. It needs a fork. I have several cool sets of old 26-inch wheels. Probably just build that bike up. And off. And yes, this is an SR. Sometimes shops do that. They'll keep a. It seems like most people wreck the non-drive crank. So a lot of shops will keep a bin, like used shops with vintagey stuff. They'll keep a bin of just non-drive cranks to mismatch for $8 or $10 in case you fall on the left side. The tapers tend to wobble out more on that side. Let's pull this bottom bracket, bro. So I got a Park bottom bracket tool on a little Craftsman breaker bar. This side will be righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Put my shoulder on the dropout, and so I get leverage and lift. It's not too tight. It's not too tight at all. And the drive side is usually reverse threaded on most English bikes. French and Italian don't. They do righty-tighty on both sides, so the drive sides always come loose on Italian bikes. So this should be righty-loosey instead of righty-tighty. Put it up and get my shoulder under it. can always over tighten the stand, you can do other stuff, get someone to come hold the back. Let's tighten the stand. I don't want you to slip. And righty loosey sure worked. Woo! Pull the tool right off of the tool. Spin them both. And I bet this is like a cheap $20 bottom bracket, but whatever. Free parts is free parts. It'll be the right thing for some cheap foot bike. Oh, it's just so dirty. It's just so dirty. I have to wipe the grease off my tools and put them back where they go as much as possible so my bench doesn't just explode with grossness. And so when I'm going to work on some clean, nice bike, I just have to do a little adjustment or something. I'm going to grab a tool and get my hand covered in filthy, filthy, filthy grease and mud. I have to wipe my parts off so I can inspect them, make sure it's not cracked, broken, threads aren't stripped, tools, teeth, faces aren't stripped. Make sure it's actually worth saving. It won't just drive me nuts later. It seems like most people just assume that all used parts and tools are good. I make eBay postings like the tapers aren't blown out, the threads aren't damaged. Like, what are you talking about? I think people like won't buy my stuff because I actually know what I'm talking about. And put close-ups, say what's going on with them. Like, huh? Just assume that everything's perfect. I have people buy stuff from me on eBay all the time. Like, where's this? Where's that? I got the bottom bracket, there's no cranks. Because the auction was for a bottom bracket. There's 24 pictures of a bottom bracket. It says bottom bracket only. The description says vintage bottom bracket. It's for these cranks, it does not come with these cranks. They're not pictured, they're not described. Like, why would you assume that they're coming with them? People be nuts, man. Most of the grease is wiped off. It is a Sunlight 122. Oop. I think these things are still 40 bucks new. People charge outrageous money for Sunlight stuff now. And I'm going to do the other thing that I can't stand people don't do. I'm going to put it in a bag. I got so many new bags. I went to the dollar store and got some bags, bro. I got these little tiny snack bags with a seal. It'd be perfect for so much little bike parts. So now it is the correct spindle with the correct bottom bracket in a sealed bag. When we all mismatched and fall apart. I can label the bag usually the Sharpie, but I can read right through it, the 122 Sunlight square taper English. What I didn't do, and I should, old mountain bikes sometimes take 73 mil bottom brackets where normal is 68. If you find a 70, it's Italian and you're in trouble. So yeah, this is 68. 68. This is all normal, don't have to label nothing. If it was 73, I'd label it. Ugh. Good thing I saved that bottom bracket to go in my bin. It's so overflowing, it's falling everywhere. So now this frame is ready for the free pile. While we're at it, let's play with this sick MB2. It's also got a bottom bracket in it. It's got an old derailleur missing the pinch bolt. It's a cool old like early 90s like 7-speed DRXT, but it's scruffy and missing parts and no one cares about front derailleurs. So it's probably just going to come off. There's a broken chunk of a bottle cage. It's probably just going to come off. It's got a fueled by power bar sticker on it. It's the dorkiest thing ever. If someone's into this beater MB2, let me know. It's going to sit here until I find a fork and do stuff, or someone else wants to buy it, fix up. If you want to buy it from me cheap, I will sell it cheap. So I got it cheap. You want me to do a bunch of cool mods to it? I'd be all about that. What does it need? Nothing. 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 I could make a custom fork for it. Could add a disc brake tab on it and make a custom disc fork. Like, we do cool stuff. Or we could just do nothing. What it needs is a fork with mods. It needs a fork with a bunch of rack mounts and cool stuff. So this thing can be like a sick basket bike or have a sweet rack for commuting on. Have cruiser bars. 20 inch is pretty big. I think 20 inch is my size. Gosh, should I make it into a shop bike? I just have something to run quick neighborhood errands on when I'm at the shop if I didn't ride my own bike. Or if I'm too lazy to go unlock my bike. It's got a cool bolt. I love vintage hardware. The domes are nice. They're so much prettier. See, they're not crusty, but it looks like regular crust, not like Burning Man playa or anything evil. Stuff's covered in white dust. Stay away from it. It's toasted. The playa's evil. I don't know. This bolt's too dirty to save. If I want to save it, I might save it. But it's derailleur. You're so cool. And if you have the other pinch bolt, I might. It's too dirty. I don't want to clean it. Missing parts. This also has a bottom bracket in. It's got black cups, which is usually a good sign. That's the nice Shimano like XT level bottom bracket. It feels, I don't feel like play, but it feels a little crunchy. It might be toast. So it's got that bullshit. Let's see if we can get this bottom bracket out. I'll flip my stand back around. I like my EBT arm, you know. Usually I recommend not clamping on the seat post. This is fairly thick. It's probably fine. If this is really stuck, I'm going to put a seat post in to clamp on that. I don't want to dent this tube. I don't want to dent this sick tube. Some weird pump mount, just sniffing some zip ties. Oh, and it's like double-sided sticky tape on the back. The zip ties were going to be enough, probably. This thing is so dirty. Oh, this stuff is cool enough to save. Let's see if we can get this bottom bracket out. So this is the drive side. It should be righty-loosey again. Oh, yep. Often, if the drive side is too tight, you just gotta break the non-drive side free. And this should be righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So sometimes you get this one free and moving out of the way, it lowers the tension on the other one, and it'll come out. So full of dirt. Alright, this might be a bit of a fight. I've also got this big boy breaker bar. Try it, and then we're going to go to more extreme measures. My shoulder under here. Oh, and it moved. It's a good sign. I don't want to put any more body weight or fight into it, because then it would, maybe damage the seat tube, and you won't be able to get your seat post in. And you really, as a mechanic, want to do no harm. We don't want to damage stuff. We want to fix stuff. Huh. The other cup is moving with it. Okay, bro. So this side's broken free too. Okay. I want to make sure they're not frozen together, they're just tight together, they're both moving. That's cool. So my third bottom bracket tool now, which is a big long ratchet. All these part extractor tools. And after that, we go crazy. I got stuff so I can bolt this tool into these cups in case they're always slipping and being annoying. And then you can get a big giant wrench on this tool. I got like 10 more bottom bracket tools, like no joke. Trying to make it look like I'm doing this easy without a lot of tools, but that would be a lie. It has so many tools. The non-drive one is tight, while the dry side is not. So spinning, and the cup's separated from the bottom bracket shell. That's common on these really vintagey high-end ones, or the fill wood ones, the cups are both separate. The campy ones, the cups are both separate. It is out, it is free. It is a UN 71. So yeah, I think they did 71s and 91s. I think the bearings might be toast on this, but I think since the cups come off, I have several of these UN 71s that are good that are missing a cup or both cups. So I'm gonna save these cups. So the other one's already off, this one is not. Here is the trick. Stick it in the vise where just the vise lips touch the underside of the cup, but not squeeze the bottom bracket. In theory. And then, if you're lucky, you gently tap it out without mangling the cup. I think I might be getting the bottom bracket, not just the cup. That moved. Yeah, it's moved several millimeters. She's a-working. Put it on this side. I might be able to hold it while tapping. There we go. Just gotta get it just right. Recycling. And the cup is ever so minorly mangled. It's probably not worth saving. I mean, it probably is worth saving, so I don't have any. But it's going to need a little bit of major surgery. It's going to, I don't think it's going to fit back over anymore. It's a little warped, so I could, in fact, this is just a bunch of aluminum for no reason. At the end, I could just file away this damaged area and this would work fine. Maybe I'll do that because I'm psycho, because I know I have like 4 of those bottom brackets that are all missing the cups. Oh, beautiful RB2. No thank you. No thank you. Got some little scrapes. It's a weird pinch right here, man. I don't think it's going to affect anything though. No broken dropouts. Who knows why somebody threw it away? It's just too scruffy? They just thought it was too rusty? It ain't. It's fine. Bro, it is fine. Maybe this is off, a little minor bit of damage. So this is the Big Park FAG2 frame alignment gauge. You touch the seat tube, you touch the head tube, and then you can touch the dropout. And that's perfect. And you try the other side. This will tell you things about bikes. So it's touching the head tube, it's touching the thing, and the dropout is in a couple millimeters. So one of these sides is either pushed in or pushed out a couple of millimeters, like not enough to care. Or possibly this thing's warped. So sort of eyeballing with the light, eyeballing this tube against the seat tube to see if you can see if one of the tubes is twisted. If there's a big gap in the light and a little gap down here or something. It's very hard with the small head tube and the lugs. It looks fine. It looks fine. It looks fine. It's a beater. It literally doesn't matter. It's got a cool Prestige sticker. I'm gonna give this thing some fender mounts. Make it a city beater. I don't really think anything else it needs. Bridgestone did the split rear brake cable routing right at the very top of the tube. I don't like that. You hop off at lights, you sit on the cable, the tube gets all scratched up. your rear brake's basically on, you're trying to move forward or something without standing yet, and you can't. I usually put them on my non-drive side, but down, not quite at the very bottom, like not 6 o'clock, but like up like 7 or 8, so a little bit off. So they're still totally hidden by the tube, so when you ride, your pant leg won't touch them. But not all the way under because I want it to have a nicer cable run. Just weird nerdy frame holder stuff. But I guess that is all for this video. I will try and find a fork for this bike. The last MB2 I had is the video I had like 7,000 views on. It's the most views I've ever had. And I actually didn't go forward with the project and put the bike frame and fork up for sale, and someone bought it. And I was like, man, I really should have gone through with that project. People were real into it. It was like an 84 or something. The stays are just too ugly. I don't like 80s mountain bike geometry. I knew I would have hated it. But what else? Thanks for watching, and I will try and find a fork, or I'm gonna go spend the dough and get that 1-inch threadless headset, put that fork in. I could definitely do a basket on that fork. This fork's cool, but it would be a pain in the butt. It's got canny bosses, but no rack mounts. It's got fender eyelets with these fat BMX style tubes. So using a front basket on it is very hard because the tubes are so fat and in the way. Sometimes I'll file away at the basket. I mean, I made it happen in the past. I could build a custom handmade rack for it. Make a $800 rack for a free box bike. I sure could though. I sure could, and it would be real dope. I haven't done any racks yet. I need to order some rack tubing. I need to build some racks. God, maybe I will. I just have it mounted to the canny bosses. And down here in a little small rack. Little porter style. Zip tie a basket on it or something. As the kids are doing. Make it real cool, make every stay bent. Put a heart on the front. Really go out of my way. Then I'd have something to show off. I never ride this bike, it'd be the way, but it's cool. So anyways, thanks for watching.